Hi everyone, I'm Sunny and today's video is going to be a celebrity pick a card reading. So I have 3 piles you may choose from. The question for today is going to be, what destination would you and your celeb crush go to? So I have 3 piles. I should have said this earlier, sorry. From left to right, I have pile 1, 2, and 3. So if you need more time, you're more than welcome to pause the video and then select a pile of your choice when you're ready. So I will go ahead and start with pile number 1. So for pile number 1, you guys have, let me just scoot these up. Okay, so you guys have the I don't know why I was gonna say something else. 6 of Wands upright, followed by the Strength card upright. Okay, so for pile number 1, I think that you guys would go into like a safari type of place, maybe the zoo. The destinations have to be more with outdoorsy type of events relating to nature. I think you guys wouldn't mind like temperate, I don't even think I'm saying that right. Temperate, is it temperate climate? Warmer climate too. I think you're 50-50 where you don't mind if it's like a location like a desert, not specifically the desert for this one. I don't think it's a desert, but you know how deserts can be hot but still be really cold at night or in the mornings too, and it can be in that perspective where you choose a location that can be warm but still cold enough that you wear longer clothing, like the individuals on the cards here. So let's say like mountainous area. Typically like mountainous area can be warm. Sorry, ignore the dogs. The neighbors are outside, so I could hear everyone's dogs outside. So I'm hoping they stop. I'm sorry, pile 1, but I don't think they're gonna stop, mostly because they're cutting the grass. I think you can hear it. So I'm just gonna continue. Oh great, they stopped. Hopefully they don't talk. But yeah, I do think that for the most part, like I said earlier, the example would be that if there's mountainous areas, it would be the kind of location that can be warm in the day, warm enough that you have to wear it. You could wear like your short sleeves and shorts and stuff, but eventually it starts getting cooler too. So that could be it. But I also think of like, I'm not sure if savannas are the kind of climates that are good for that, because I am thinking of like areas in maybe maybe where it's jungle type, where maybe you can have like access to like viewing tigers, for example. Like even in some I don't want to specifically say the first one in mind, but I think for me, I also think of Asian countries where there's a lot of vegetation when it comes to jungle type of, like, because it's very humid, not humid like, but there's a lot of rain, so there's a lot of vegetation outside that tigers can actually live in it. Maybe not that many, but it's enough to be easy to spot, right? Or you can also think of African countries where, maybe not every country, because there are like some places right now that are good to have those spots where people go and like view. I know I had the name for it earlier. You basically go on excursions to go see animals in the vehicle, right? And you just get to spot them and take pictures and stuff like that. You just have to be really quiet and stuff. Those kinds of places. Or maybe you're the kind of person who would end up, and even your celebrity crush would enjoy, because of the money, maybe your celebrity crush would enjoy staying at a hotel where they have access to, if they get to wake up at a certain time, they get to see certain animals, right, in the morning, or in the evening too, where they see them and they pop in, like example, giraffes, for example, too. Or maybe you are looking for a specific bird breed or something, and you have to like wake up really early to see them, because the ideal temperature for them is not during the sun time. So that's when you have to kind of see them, right? So that could be some examples. I do think that you and your celebrity crush are probably very good with animals, in the sense where you guys have a love for nature and animals. So that's why I think anything that's outdoorsy, in the sense where you have access to being able to see them, maybe interact with them, and maybe you're someone that's interested in like not conversation. No. Not conversion. What's conservation? Is it conservation? Yes. Why did I confuse them? Conservation, not conversation or conversion. Sorry. No. Conservation. Sorry. I believe you guys would be very big animal lovers and nature lovers, and that's why that resonates with you. Those kinds of destinations would be, maybe you guys like advocacy for that, and that's why it's a big plus for you to be close to that, because I think that you would be the voice for them, or you're someone that would encourage people to visit these locations, maybe because they're more considerate of their environment, trying to be not minimal waste, but like minimal carbon footprint. Is that what I'm trying to say? Where you're not obstructing yourself too much in the environment. Or you could also be the kind of person who just wants to see them, but not necessarily touch them out of respect, or try to ride any animal, if you get what I'm trying to say. Mostly because you don't want to, hurt the animal, right? It could be that way, but I do think that you maybe even for some, if it's not these kinds of locations, another possibility is that you guys can be horse riding. So maybe you guys take trips, long trips, maybe they're romantic trips too at that, but with this one energy, I just feel it's very energetic trips where you guys would keep up with doing all these really neat neat activities with animals, or outdoorsy, and people would like it. I think you might catch why am I saying stuff bad? You might catch attention, and I think specifically your celebrity crush would possibly, I'm so sorry for the dog's skin, would possibly be the center of attention. But I don't think you mind too much, because I think you would be enjoying the view and what you get to explore and have a lot of fun with. Like, overall, it just gives like a Leo type of energy with the strength card. But also with this wand, it's just fiery. So any of the fire signs, maybe you both are fire signs, and you enjoy that. You enjoy being very active people, very active minds too. So that's what I have for you. That's the destinations, pile number 1. Next, pile number 2. You guys have this swords. The Ace of Swords upright, followed by the Death card reversed. So I think maybe a colder environment, maybe environments like I don't think the south of France is necessarily a location for castles. I think maybe it's just northern France, maybe. I need to brush up on my history. Geographical history specifically. But yeah, I think that maybe that could be a location, colder climate kind of, weather, but still nice enough to be very historical. And that's why I think of castles in that way, where that could be a region. Or maybe like Ireland, like the northern areas of England, or the UK specifically too. That's a bigger, broader, generalized area, mostly because there's different types also of castles and stuff. And yeah, I mean, it could be like well off places, but not necessarily. Maybe there's just places that are also like run down, pyramids, temples too, not necessarily just those areas. But I think that you are more gravitating with your celebrity crush towards areas that are with some history, where there's been battles. Maybe you're enthusiastic about visiting museums like that, museums where there's a lot of equipment that's historical because of what you can learn from there. Maybe you just have an interest like that. Hobbies that include, like, I'm sure there's like museums that are just places that have really good guides, tour guides and stuff, that have a lot of information and resources in regards to the kinds of battles that were held in there. Maybe you're just into that, or maybe you visit places where it's like it's exotic in nature, but it feels different. It just feels that maybe it's more like, I think of a mind interest here with this Ace of Swords upright and the Death card reverse. The mind is more of an interest rather than like a scenic kind of thing where you want to do stuff. So you're there for learning purposes too. So maybe something exotic that feels interesting to you because it's very different from what you're used to. That's why I think maybe like a gloomier kind of environment too, or maybe just the northern areas of any place. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say Alaska. I don't know why I want to say that, but maybe you, or in that regard, if you're thinking about colder climates in this perspective, I think that the reason why you show interest is because you be there to fend for yourself. I think there should be like, you're interested in like the strategy part of how people live in such remote areas maybe, and that's why you're both interested in that. It feels exotic to you because that's not how you live. You have maybe amenities easily access to, maybe like fresh water, or just like running water, right? Is that what I'm trying to say? Where you have access to the toilets, right? Or maybe just access to grocery stores. So because you have that, maybe that's why you show interest in that, because it's not easy for you to imagine a life like that. Or maybe imagine a life back in the day where people had to fight. I want to say fight for their right. And I keep thinking of the Beastie Boys. No. So they basically had to fight off for their territory. They had to fight off to fend for their home and their livestock and, you know, all that stuff. So maybe that's interesting to you. So that's why I think of these locations that feel like more, you gravitated more towards like grays and metallics. And I think of that. I think of silver weapons. I think of that kind of style. And maybe even not just those locations, I also think of like Japan, in the sense where back in the day there was a lot of I mean back in the day, their outfits, their wardrobes and stuff were, what do they call the soldiers specifically, they had their own metal gear, right? And they had their swords. Well, they had different types of swords. I think some of them could be called like, what do they call, like katanas and stuff like that. I need to brush up on my history. I'm really bad. But yeah, I think of that kind of environment too, where it can be historical. There was castles in some Asian parts, and they're beautiful too, by the way, but it could be that type of interest where you guys share that interest, you share that love for what you can learn from the past and how much it's changed, or how much it's actually not improved but modernized itself. And that's what you find fascinating. Sorry. So I do think that you guys find it fascinating that two worlds can live together. So maybe that collision of like the old with the past, the old with the new is interesting for you both. So I think that's where you guys will share that love of destination travel, to where there's something vintage but something new. Something very modern too. And that's why I think of like castles, and then the next thing you know, you're next to like a little cute pub, or like a city walking places, you know? So yeah, interesting destinations for you guys. Maybe kings and queens are important to you guys, or just dynasties too, you know? The dynasty parts, and that's in so many other countries too. I also think of Egypt. Egypt is also like has its own like kind of historical, like I would also consider pyramids kind of monumental in that way. Maybe not necessarily like a castle-y type of place, but you know, Pyramids are pretty cool. Even in Mexico, they also have pyramids too. That can also be interesting. But this feels more medieval. Like, it just feels more medieval kind of environment. Yeah, not so like. It doesn't feel like it's that kind of hot kind of climate, but it could be for some. So thank you, pile number 2. Next, pile number 3. You guys have the 6 of Pentacles reverse and the 2 of Pentacles upright. So pile number, I was gonna say 1. Pile number 3, I'm sorry. Let me just, yeah. Let me take a sip of water before I continue. Okay, so pile 3, the destination places you and your celebrity crush would enjoy going. It's interesting because I think either one person is trying to save and the other person's not. like I don't know if it's you or them, but it could be either or, because I do think that okay, I didn't really necessarily put this reading into like a left person is you and then the other right person is your celebrity crush. I just wanted the destination kind of to let me know what will be popping up. So I'm gonna go ahead and say, like, I usually typically say the right person is you and then the left will be your celebrity crush. So I think that you would be the person who's trying to balance themselves out in the sense where, I'm sorry, my voice starts going up. It was not going up before. So in the sense where you guys are trying to enjoy yourselves, but you're trying to feel like you're trying to be the person who's, how can I say this, the most bang for your buck, right? I think that's how you say it. The most, is it bang? The most, what I'm trying to say is, sorry, I'm trying to think of the right saying, but I can't. So you imagine you have so many cool activities you want to do, but you only have so much money you want to spend, or that you have. So you're trying to really milk that dollar as far as you can reach, right? Like, how far can that dollar reach, right? So you're trying to really extend that. So like, how much could I do with so little time or so little money? How could I best allocate that? How could I balance that out? So that's the vibe you're giving. But you don't mind spending, you just don't want to overdo it. Like, you want to spend within a reasonable amount, right? And then your celebrity crush is like stingier. I don't know. I just feel like this person is, they don't mind spending, but I guess because they don't have the best type of spending habits is why they're trying to not spend too much. So when I think of destination places you both would enjoy, I think money would have a big objectivity in that trip. So money. Either you save up for it or you don't really want to overspend too much if you could possibly avoid it. Of course, there's always things that happen in trips, like unexpected expenses that pop out in the places that you, hotels maybe, or maybe you get like stomach aches and you have to go, to the pharmacy or to the doctor because you got the sheaths. So yeah, there's always unexpected expenses that pop up. So I keep in mind that when you think of someone that's going to like be a little more pragmatic in how they travel, I think maybe you're trying to be as cheap as possible. So I don't think you necessarily have to have the view. So if you went to like a bougie place like Hawaii, I mean, that's a big expensive place with tourism and stuff. Like, I just think, oh man, you're spending a lot of money, but you don't need to be at the ocean front, or you don't have to be at the best location. You don't mind if you stay at like an Airbnb that's kind of run down or you don't mind sharing a hostel, or you don't mind like going as cheaply as possible, or maybe even like spending the night in your car or something, or just doing the best that you can with what you have, as long as you're there, right? And it feels like maybe your celebrity crush might be that kind of thing where you might do the same, might have that same interest. where they're like, yeah, I don't want to be like, I don't want to spend the extra cost on just this, just because I want to have like the luxury to say, yeah, I spent like my money on like a 5-star hotel, right? It could be that they just want to be there for the views and the pictures, and that's it. They don't really care. And they're maybe like a little bit more frivolous with their money, with their income. So I think that destinations that you both like, locations specifically now, moving aside the finance part, I think that maybe, I think you both could be interested more like in national kind of traveling rather than international. Maybe more like, even if you like have a state or country, just traveling like a few hours away from where you're at can be very different and interesting. So I think that's more the route you're going, and maybe your celebrity crush too, where you guys might have the same ethnicity or the same residency and you guys might not care so much about where you're going as long as it's kind of cheap. Or maybe you have to have, example, like a cheap airplane ticket because you might have already booked everything. It's just that maybe you did it last minute, and maybe that makes the prices go skyrocketing. Sorry. So maybe you just want to like cut costs in that way too. You're like, it's okay, we can take a road trip, or I can get the cheapest like flight by just extending it with I think they're called overlays, right? Are they overlays? I forgot. If I'm saying the wrong word, I'm sorry, but yeah, you don't mind that, like, whatever. What's a good 17 hours plus? That's fine. So I think that you really try your best in that way. Location, sorry, I should have said that earlier. Aside from national, maybe your preference, I think that maybe places where you don't have to buy out of your wardrobe. So when I say that, I might have worded that poorly, but so like if you already have that, you would use it. I don't think you're the kind of person that's like, oh, I need to like get summer clothing because I don't have any summer clothes. You're like, whatever, there's nothing else, I'm just gonna wear whatever I have in there. Or if you're going to somewhere that's colder, where you're like, well, I'm just gonna bundle up, layer up all the clothes that I have because I'm not buying any more clothes. That's too expensive. And that could be your celebrity crush too. But I mean, of course, they have more amenities and I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that right. Accessibilities to other resources. So I don't think they might struggle as much as you, but I just don't think they want to spend too much. I think they're a little bit more stingier in that way. Maybe because they're greedier, or they're just someone that's just raised that way. Their personalities like that. So I think maybe it could be some mountainous area, but I also think it could just be like a really plain, random city that doesn't mean they have bad things. It's just maybe the city. Or maybe you both have a preference of going to like carnivals and stuff, festivals where you get to be medieval, because these two individuals here in the cards are both dressed up pretty. I mean, I think all my cards are I think I could say that for all the cards. Everyone looks medieval, but in the sense where they feel pretty gestury, they feel pretty comical in that sense. So I think maybe like a Renaissance fair too. I think that could be a destination you guys enjoy. Something minimal, something that's like, if it's already happening, like an event that's already occurring, you don't mind going. Or like if it's a festival too of other sorts, like a music festival, right? I think you guys, I mean, I don't think you guys would make a big deal of it. You would enjoy what's there. You wouldn't really be so picky because you're just trying to make a good experience happen, rather than get picky because you didn't spend more, you know? So that's what I have for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this reading. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in a different video. So bye everybody.